Hello everyone and welcome back to the Belgian Beer Brothers channel. Today is day 3 of the Toer de Geuze 2022. I am still Cedric and we are gonna talk about the Oude Geuze Devillé or Old Geuze Devillé. First we're gonna talk about the brewery a bit, and the brewery that brews this is brewery Den Herberg, which is Flemish for the inn or the lodge or the hostel, whatever you want to call it. And that's because they originally started out as an old bar, but more on that in a second, because not only is Den Herberg the youngest member of the Horal, the High Council of artisanal lambic breweries, but they are also the second youngest Geuze brewery that we have. They joined the Horal only in January of this year, so they are the newest member, and Horal being the organizer of the Toer de Geuze. And they are a very, very young Geuze brewery indeed. We have seen a brewery started up in 1785. We are gonna see brewery Timmermans. They even started in 1706 if I'm not mistaken. We'll see that later on this week. But Den Herberg actually started very, very late. The story goes, and I kind of have this information firsthand because this Saturday I had the honor of meeting the brewer's son-in-law, who is also a brewing assistant. But in 1998, Bart Devillé, back then the owner of a construction company, actually wanted to buy a French chateau, a winery, and well, having 5 children and depending on one harvest a year, his wife Anne wasn't too keen on that idea. So Bart went to the local Covey, not COVID, but Covey, a winemaking school. He went to the info days and he met someone who was a brewer and taught a brewing course. And well, he didn't think about that too long, because if he started brewing, he could stay in Belgium with his wife and kids, and he was not dependent on harvest or on the crops or on the weather. He could just brew the whole year through. So yeah, decisions were made. They stayed in Belgium and they started experimenting in the kitchen, actually, in large kitchen kettles. Now, after 2 years of experimenting, in 2000, they bought an old bar, which is well, actually the building that they are still in. And I visited it this Saturday and I almost went right past it, because it is visually not much more than just a bar. But when you come in, it's a whole other story. So in 2000 they bought an old bar, originally with the idea of using it as a warehouse for their building firm or their construction firm. And somewhere around 2005-2006 they got the idea of well, remodeling it as a brewery. They had been experimenting for several years. They had a few good beers, a few good runs, so they wanted to start brewing professionally. And in 2006, I believe, they started remodeling. In 2007, unexpectedly, the bar was actually finished before the brewery, because they were still building the brewery with some improvised materials and some second-hand materials. For example, they told me that they used old milk coolers as kettles, and they had some second-hand machinery come in from Germany. But in February of 2007 they reopened the cafe, and since 2008 yeah, Bart started brewing in their own professional brewery. His wife Anne and their oldest son Akke kept the bar up and running. But soon thereafter, Ake started assisting his father in the brewery, and he's now a brewer himself as well. And they have, yeah, quite a lot of people working at the bar and the brewery. Currently, their son-in-law, who I had the chance to talk to, is also a part-time brewing assistant, and they're actually their only sales representative. So yeah, he knows how it works there as well, and he is their son-in-law. So quite a bit later, in 2015, they installed a second-hand bottling line, because before 2015, for about 7 years, they bottled everything by hand and labeled everything by hand. So they bought a second-hand bottling line in Germany, installed it, and in 2018 they expanded the brew house with 2 extra fermenters, or actually they're only 2 large fermenters, which could hold 4 batches of about 18 hectoliters. Knowing that they have a capacity of about 2,000 hectoliters a year, which is over 100 brews, they have quite a turnover. These days they have 5 beers in their range, 5 regular beers I must say, on top of their Lambic and their Geuze. And they acquired 2 extra warehouses in the neighborhood to age all their Lambic and Geuze, because it's real estate. If you have a lot of beer, you need to have a lot of room. And in those warehouses they have over 300 oak barrels to age the beer in. And a little birdie told me that they even have one very special experimental barrel of whiskey distilled from one of their beers. Now, back to the beer. We have an Oude Geuze Devillé, or Geuze Devillé à l'ancienne. This is a pretty standard old Geuze. It is a blonde blend of 1, 2 and 3 year old Lambic, as a Geuze should be, or an old Geuze should be. It is aged on one of those oak barrels. It's a beer of spontaneous fermentation, as all Geuzes are. It's re-fermented in the bottle, and it is very importantly unfiltered and unpasteurized. And I do have a nice little story about this label here with the white chalk stripe, and actually I just see that their story is on the back label as well. Anywho, I love, as you guys might know, I really like simple, classic and classy labels, and this is very serene, very calm. Just a dark label with a white stripe, some a few words, not more text than necessary. And this stripe is actually a remnant of the olden days, back in the days when bottles didn't get labels. Brewers marked their bottles with chalk stripes in different colors. They had red, white, and in this neighborhood, in this region, Pajottenland in Dutch, they marked the Geuze bottles with a white chalk stripe, and that's where this label comes from. Okay. Anywho, enough about that. Yeah, let's try it out. I'll take the glass. And I am very careful when doing this, because I had a cork escaping me this one time. Okay, it's slow, but it's rather active. Some large bubbles coming up, taking along a bit of yeast, but that's nothing new. A blank cork this time, champagne cork. Ooh, already some foaming in the bottle. So I will have to pour this very calm. It's quite fizzy, and I already see a lot of foam formation, very, very clear white foam again. Thick foam as well, tiny, tiny bubbles. Again, that lovely orangey golden straw color. Typical Brettanomyces aroma. Quite citrusy, a bit lemony, a bit grapefruity. And the foam left us rather quickly. Yeah, the grapefruit aroma is strong. Let's have a taste. Ooh. Yeah, the beer is very active, very, very fizzy. Tiny, almost invisible bubbles, but they are there. Can't see them, but you can feel them. I'd say it's for an old Geuze a bit on the thin side, a bit on the watery side, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but yes, it's very refreshing, very thirst quenching. Again, the citrusy, fruity notes are coming out. I even get a hint of peach or some stone fruit. And in the taste again, and even more so than in the scent, a lot of grapefruit, a lot of bitterness, a lot of very enjoyable bitterness. It's quite hazy as well. Now, I am recording this on Monday. I did visit the brewery on Saturday, and I brought this little thingy from the brewery. Apparently they work with someone to make their own cheese, and it is a very ripe cheese. So let's see how this goes with the beer. It's a very strong tasting cheese, a very refreshing cheese as well, quite fruity. And I didn't get a chance to taste the cheese on Saturday, and I did taste the beer, but I never had the chance to taste them together, so this is a first for me as well. I do love cheese, by the way. That's a great combo. I actually know that Den Herberg also makes a beer called the Toer de Geuze, and it is, how can I say this, a young fruity version of Horal, and I do believe that this cheese would go perfectly with that beer. Just like, by the way, Orval and Orval cheese go hand in hand. Actually, the very fresh and strong taste combination of the cheese really complements the bitterness and the slight sour taste of the beer. In all honesty, it's not a very sour Geuze. It's actually more bitter than sour. Okay, I think that we will leave it at that. Yeah, as usual, if you guys get the chance, go out and buy a few of these bottles. Try out their other beers, they're amazing. And yeah, let me know what you think of this. Comment, like, subscribe. If you want to see the rest of this series or just some other brew reviews, or anything that I do, hit the bell icon, then you'll get notified when I upload something. And that's about it. I'm gonna enjoy this a bit more, and I will see you guys tomorrow for another random Geuze. See you guys back then. Cheers, you guys.